Toxic toad?
Or should it be zombie toad because he was up so early?
Yeah. No, Robbo's even worse. He didn't even go to sleep.
Wow.
He's still awake from yesterday.
Yeah.
He didn't even go to sleep. All right, who's got the YouTube on? He's still awake from yesterday.
Yeah. Dr. Bob, you've got your... Right.
I fixed it before you could say it.
Echo!
Is there something we can name that? We gave Cade hell for dropping out all the time and coming back. Dr. Bob's the Echo Man.
Yeah.
It's still going. Somebody needs to mute.
Echo.
Well, me, I got my volume.
Oh, no, it's not me.
It's gone now. It runned away.
Who's that, Sid?
Hey?
Did you say Sid?
No, I said it's gone now. It runned away.
Yeah, it did.
Hey, what do you reckon? The oil in here is?
Have no idea.
Oh, don't be like that. You're meant to know everything. You and Dr. Bob are meant to know everything.
Well, if I could smell it, I could probably tell you.
It smells like lemons or citrus even.
Lemon oil, orange oil.
Yeah, it might be. Sometimes you can smell lemon, sometimes you can smell orange. That's why I'm just going to say citrus. Cover my bases. All right, so I got ghost gum today. Do a goblet. Maybe if it turns out. If it doesn't, then oh well. I'll turn some.
It's not a bad looking bit of timber anyway.
Yeah, it's ghost gum. It's
No, I mean as far as cracks go. So far.
Oh yeah. I'd really like a moisture meter at the moment, to be honest, because I know it's still got a lot of moisture in this piece because it was only it hasn't even been a year since this has been cut down. So.
Well, if you get wet turning it, you know it's wet.
That's it.
Sometimes those are the fun ones, though.
Moisture meters.
Sorry, what was that, Bob?
Moisture meters are so cheap, but the problem is, if it's a real hard wood, then the points of them don't go deep enough to tell you what it's like inside.
That's the bark.
You can make a dugout canoe with that.
Yeah, look, it's split in the top, so we can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they used to do was soak it in the rivers till it was pliable, and then they'd fold over the ends on them and stomp them down and compress them.
Knocking a whirly, brother.
Yeah.
All right, I suppose I better start turning now. Well, Robbo could get on the lathe and start turning, you know.
No, I've been out all morning. I've bought what I wanted to buy.
I'll tell you, when you pulled out, Robo, when you pulled out and told them what you did with the lamps, there was a lot of people really shocked over that because no one's seen a production turner.
Oh, well.
They brag when they do 5 of something.
Sorry, what was that?
They often brag, several of the people brag when they did 5 or 6 of something, you know, for a client or a charity.
How you going, Mike?
G'day, Mike. How are you?
Robbo, this is one thing you didn't see. I've got these sticks that I made up. They're actually a coconut oil base. With,
you did show me those.
Yeah, with hemp oil and mineral oil, right? But I've got some magenta dye, and I mixed some up.
Right.
So we'll see what it's like as a waxy coating later.
It's all right.
What are you saying? All right for?
I was just about to ask Mike how long's it got to go on the auction of that grinder, and did he get it or not?
Get inside!
I am inside.
No, the cats don't get let outside very often, and when they do, they abuse their privileges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too, Mike. But I wasn't too sure because I've never seen it before. So.
Need to let them outside at night so they can kill the rats.
No, they're too old for that stuff. Oh, 16, 17. Oh, Mike, you're going to let it slip out of your hands? Oh, no. Yeah.
Who that in the background?
Oh, that was Sid just giving me a thumbs up. I sent him.
Oh, yeah, the link. Yeah.
If they're in that group that you made, Dr. Bob, you don't need to send them a link because I sent it in there.
Okay. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, Jay whacks it in there when he comes on. I'll be back in half a second.
But until people get used to finding it in one spot, that's why I was hoping to post it so people do know. And then we can get out if you're part of your program, we've got a group you can join. So what have you been up to today, Blair?
Just watched some YouTube, did that meeting, and then hung out with my stepson and his wife, and then rescued my son and came back and did some time out in the shop. And here we are.
Oh, yeah. Mike said no, didn't get it. Went for £40. Probably see it on a restoration channel soon. That seems a little bit overpriced for what it looked like. It was a good grinder, but
yeah, for quite a while I had a 6-inch grinder and I was using it because it was given to me.
Well,
then
for
I
30,
got the CBN wheels on my bigger one, and now I'm using both of them.
Well, for 40 years, 35 years or so, all I sharpened on was a 6-inch grinder with an 80 grit wheel on it.
Yep, that's all that my grandfather used, but he never said what grit it was, but that's what I have come to believe because of the way it cuts well. And every day, before he'd use any of his grinders, and he had 3, those that had stones on them, he would go around with this little brass hammer The hammer had a head probably about that big with a handle, and he would tap each one of the stones.
Yep. Ringing them.
Yep, he'd ring them, and every
Does it
day
act-
before anybody would touch him, he had to do that. And I kept asking him why. He says, because it was moist last night, or it rained, or and there's too many ores. Like, okay, and what's going to happen? Well, if I don't do it, you'll find out someday, and hope you're not standing in front of it. And of course, no guards on anything.
No.
They didn't come with guards.
I've seen an 18-inch grinding wheel shatter. That was enough. Just about tore the roof off the building.
That's one reason I like the CBNs. I've got two. The last one I actually got it with the side grind on it, where it wraps around the side, so you can sharpen the side of the wheel. And I have found that to be so handy. And remember, I was talking about and showed the wax that you can use to clean CBN wheels?
Yep.
It is for sale, and I put in the group the advertisement for the company that sells them, plus the CBN wheels imports them, is in conjunction with the friend that I have that runs a big business here. So he's got a distributor right there in Australia for people.
Just about get your roughing gouge onto that now, Jay.
What was that?
You can just about get your roughing gouge onto that now. There's no squiggly bits in it.
Yeah, I was just getting the end one, the other end, that's all.
Do you want to see what I went and bought this morning?
Sure.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you want to weep? Do you?
You better give them full screen to get the impact. Oh.
Oh, really?
You're going into it seriously now.
Wow.
A new toy that'll take you a week to figure out what you can do, and then all of a sudden you'll say, hey, this is easier than I thought.
Geez, a week's optimistic, Bob. I tell you, I think it'll be 3 months.
Here's a look at it then. Take it out of the box.
There's a lot of templates that are out there already online, for what you have.
So is that something that I'm sorting out when I get there, Robbo?
Yeah, I'll be working on it still by then, I reckon.
Yeah, if I wanted one, I don't know if I could find one in Detroit anywhere.
Well, I must admit, I went to 4 shops to get this morning.
Computer stores?
Well, yeah, partly computer stores, partly bloody electrical stores. Believe it or not, I ended up getting it at a gaming shop.
And what's it called?
Because
Stream?
Sorry?
What's it called again?
A Stream Deck.
Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Stream Deck XL.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the last one in captivity in Cranbourne anyway.
Well, the people who really developed that, as far as all the software code and stuff like that, and then the macros that you can put in them,
Oh, yeah.
they
Nice.
were gamers.
So,
Oh, that's it. He's broken it already.
no, it's got more. It can lay down flat or sit up on the stand. Jesus, I don't know where I can put anything in it. I can't see anywhere.
Mm.
It's all software. It talks to your computer.
Yeah, just mocking. But it comes with a nice little blankie too. Look,
Yeah.
look, lovely little stitch blanket it comes with.
Put it on your head, under your hat.
Oh, nice.
Now I look like an Italian bricklayer.
No, tour guide with the headset on.
No, Italian bricklayers used to wear hankies on their head with four corners knotted up like the English used to, because they weren't used to the sun out there. Oh, I see. That's handy. That's on a magnetic base. Ah. Oh, that's
So
pretty
did you get a
spiffy.
good deal on it, Robbo?
Sorry?
Did you get a good deal on it?
No. The full retail price. I tried haggling with them, but I said to them, I said, well, I can get $100 off if I go onto like Amazon or somewhere like that. And the girl just said, I wish you luck.
Yeah, they can't make them fast enough or import them.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Gone. Geez, Mike, you're a sadist.
I'm looking online. There's another system called Elgato.
Well, that's what these are. Elgato Stream Deck.
And they got them for about $150.
That's the smaller one. This one's the XL.
Yeah, the XL they've got for about $250. Actually, the lowest is about $239.
Yeah, that's American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks cool though. I might have to look into one of those.
Yeah, I reckon it looks pretty spiff. I don't think Julie's going to see $550 worth of value in it though.
Well, even getting one, Bailey, for 100 would be a good price. But it's just limited to the buttons. But you can actually stack buttons so as like a shift key. You can hit the shift key in a button to do something different. So you could have
I wish this.
Good
day, Chris. How are you?
I was going to say we're neglecting the chat room. Chris is in.
Yeah.
He says he saw one of those at Target for $100. Wow.
Yeah, that's cool. That was a cheaper one. Like the cheaper one's 200. Retail 269 out there. You can get it on Amazon or eBay for 239.
How you going, Chris?
$30 off. This was 569. I've seen them for $489, I think, Australian dollars. But like she said, I wish you luck. Because anything to do with streaming in Australia at the moment is just about sold out. The other things that we ran out of was not toilet paper, surprisingly enough, was freezers, fridges and freezers.
Oh, that is interesting.
That was at the start of the COVID pandemic, because people were stocking up on food everywhere. The world was coming to an end. Didn't you know that? And to put it politely, the amount of toilet rolls that were sold, where they were going to defecate themselves to death, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think the big problem we had here that led to that was all the don't do as I to do as I do, don't do as I have my underlings tell you. And there were so many people, the idea is if the president doesn't, we don't have to. So it must be a fraud.
That's right. Our politicians are in trouble for making mistakes as well out here. But they
Looks like Marley's in. Hi, Marley.
Sorry?
Marley is in.
Oh, good day, Marley. Where'd you? Oh, yeah. You must be on the YouTube one, are you?
Right.
Right, Marley, I'll get it out of the way now. What are you doing out of bed at this time of the bloody night? Go to bed. It's a school day.
That's a paid announcement from an uncle.
Is it the same Marley?
Marley Ferrer.
I don't know. I don't remember the last name. I don't think that was it, but yeah.
No, he had Marley Shed yesterday. He's trying to sneak in under another name now.
Yeah.
That'd be a teenager. Or wannabe.
All right. Sorry, Marley, but this is on your uncle's request.
Go to bed.
Oh,
Yes,
he's
school
booted.
tomorrow.
Oh.
Well, Mark's asked me not to allow him in the channel.
He's too young.
He's too young.
He's only 11.
Yeah. So Mark wasn't too impressed the other night when he came in here and found him still in here. One, he's not impressed because he was still awake, but two, because he's so young. So I'd just rather he just maybe go and find some. I don't want to offend him or anything, so I'd rather respect what his uncle's got to say and his feelings on it. So.
Agree.
Yeah. Well, on my point of view, raising a lot of teenagers and would-be wannabes, of which 11 and 12 is a rough time, is there's school tomorrow, and that does nothing else matter. Period.
Yep.
I do it here. Even
I'll tell you what,
if the two teenagers.
If this stuff was around when I was a bloody teenager, I wouldn't have been going to school either. I'd be up all hours of the night as well.
You were anyway, weren't you?
Yes. I think everybody.
I was. I used to read books under the covers of the thing with a torch, and I must admit I never ever sneaked out of the house at bedtime, but it was tempting occasionally. But the punishment that I would receive in return for an hour or two of fun would not be worth it.
Yeah. My parents had it really strict, and but I would listen to the radio. Being a radio geek, I would put the radio on the floor and had already wired a headphone jack in it, so I could put the headphone, a single one, under my pillow and listen to the radio shows at night, like Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, or the Saint. When you get into stuff like that they didn't care. But they were doing the same thing, listening on the big radio in the living room, because we didn't have a TV until I was 7.
Now all we've got to do is make sure that when Mark comes in, if he comes in, that it was actually Marley that we kicked out, not some other poor Marley.
Yeah.
No, he said yep underneath when someone asked, is it Marley? So yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, that's all right then.
So, Robbo, is there any finishes that you can put on wood that won't go rancid? Or let me reverse that. Are there finishes you can put on wood that will go rancid, like olive oil?
Yes. Given enough time, like if you made a bowl and you put peanut oil, olive oil, quite a few of the oils actually, like from fruits and stuff like that, and just left it sitting on a shelf, it would eventually go off, yes. It would go moldy or whatever.
Yeah. I was just wondering because Jay has a mixture of coconut oil, and I was thinking maybe coconut oil would do the same thing, but
No, I don't think coconut oil would, because I use it in suntan oils and things like that. So I don't know. I dare say if you left it lying around long enough in a natural state, that it would probably go mouldy too.
yeah.
But that is only a guess on my part.
Oh, Marley's watchdog is up online. Hi, Mark.
Howdy, Mark.
G'day, Mark.
How you going, Mark? Might want to go and have a chat with Marley, like now.
Well, you banned him.
You didn't ban him; you just blocked him. And I agree with that.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Hey, Mark, I've got something for you.
And you're gonna drool. Three, two,
Mark,
1.
Now he's got to learn to program it.
yeah, that's the exciting bit.
Watch a bunch of YouTube channels, you'll learn. There's a couple real good ones for people who stream. And the interesting thing is there's two groups of people, one that use StreamYard and one that uses Zoom. And the StreamYard people, there seem to be far more people doing classes, running daily programs just to teach you how. And StreamYard itself has 5 or 6 programs, at least one a day, answering questions, showing something new to do. So there's plenty of support to help you, Robo.
Yeah. That's what you're running, isn't it, Mark? The Stream Deck?
No, he's doing something else.
I thought that's what he was running. I'm sorry if I offended you, Mark. You can tell me about carbides and pens if you like. How big a tenon are you putting on that, Jay? Or is it split down the end?
What's that?
How big a tenon are you putting on that?
Well, all of this bit here, it wasn't level. And then I noticed that there was a crack, a split taken out of the edge, so I got rid of that as well.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Guys, be right back.
Yeah, no worries, Blair.
Yeah, well, you can automate everything on your computer. That's the nice part about having a Stream Deck and all the macros, even incoming music and exit music, transition music, or sound effects, and a whole gang of sound effects.
I must admit, after looking around the how-tos on streaming, it's as confusing as what wood turning is on there, I reckon. Okay, Mark, I apologise. I'm sorry.
Superior means more money, Mark? Yeah, and what got me is I saw an article.
Turn that off, Jay. Turn it off. I don't mean turn the thing off. It looks like it's very close to one edge on the tailstock center, is it?
The kitchen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a little bit, but it's in the red.
Yeah, it might have held there, might not have.
I'm just nipping that bit off anyway.
Yeah, no, what could happen is that as soon as the chisel gets near it, it can just break away completely and just fly out of the lathe.
Yeah, it did it a little bit.
Yeah. Better to be safer than sorry.
Yeah, I would. Thank you, Mark. I nipped it on the head this time as soon as he came in. I put him in timeout. So it was pretty good timing. You came in while he was in timeout, to be honest.
And I told him to go to bed.
Yeah.
Got school tomorrow.
Yeah, he did get told off by Robbo, by the way, too. Yeah.
You know, for a young person to have so many, in essence, like step parents, stepfathers, whatever you want to call it, no matter where he goes, telling him what to do. That must be pretty bad.
Well, I must admit, in our neighbourhood, there was only, well, we started off with 5 houses with families in our neighbourhood. And over a period of 2 years, it grew to 7 houses with more kids. But man, if we did anything wrong, the neighbours weren't backward in telling us off for it, I tell you. And my mum and dad would do the same with all the other kids too. They did something wrong.
Same thing when I was a kid.
But in those days, you knew that if you were told off with one parent, that your own parents would back them up.
Yes.
Not today. Geez, they'd have assault charges or something against them, you know.
Yes. My kid's an angel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, little Johnny, he doesn't do nothing wrong. Just because he set the back fence on fire one day and destroyed 500 acres behind him.
Just a footnote to everyone. Any funny joke that's made in Australia is about a little boy named Johnny.
Yeah, little Johnny.
Yeah, rat bag.
And his girlfriend, Mary. Aha, there it is in there. I see, she cried. Right.
No, she said that's where it's meant to be, didn't she?
No.
Do you have to plug it in and charge it?
I don't know yet.
I reckon you would.
Mark will be able to tell me how it works.
He's got a different.
I know that.
He's he's on another level or something, you know.
Yeah,
His is the Stargate. It's a portal.
yeah, touch portal, that's right.
Yeah, Stargate.
Yeah, and Mark says little Johnny needs to go to Borstal. I know what Borstal is out here.
How's those?
Oh no, Borstal was virtually a boys' home with very, very strict rules. In fact, it was part of the prison system, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Home for delinquent children. God, half the population would be in there by now. Like a JB Hi-Fi this morning, Mark. Jay, there was a girl there, she's probably 12 or 13, I suppose.
Yeah.
Looking at the phones. She wasn't satisfied with a $200 phone. She wanted an $1,800 one, and she was letting her mother know it.
Yeah. Sport brats.
Yeah.
Bugger off, Mark.
Oh, good one, Mark.
Yeah, get on your horse and go home. Go on.
Good one, Mark. I like that. Very clever.
Well, history supports it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oi.
So does half the population out here. They all
Yeah.
relate to it.
Yeah, bruvs.
No, I'm strict with even the teenagers here till they hit 18. They have a definitive time where their internet gets turned off.
Yep. During a school day, that's fair enough.
Yeah, during school, where school's the next day. And the comment is, well, I'm done with my homework and I got it, I can do what I need tomorrow. And the answer is, nope. Tell them they can listen to music. That's it. Because we
what
don't.
are you doing on
we
that?
don't know.
How come you put a tenon on that end as well, Joe?
I just flattened that end when it was in the other end. I just flattened it.
Yeah, that's right. They did too, Mark. Actually, they sent quite a lot of convicts over to America, didn't they?
I'll go back on mute then.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll shut up, Joe. I won't talk to you. All right.
But a lot of the ones that were sent over, they ended up. But then France did the same thing. But they always ended up in Canada. And then, of course, the Frenchmen didn't know how to handle snow or cold or anything. They had to learn. And they become the big fur trappers and traders for the world before any Yanks ever went up there to do any fur trading and fur, setting traps and all. That was the French that did it mostly. Because they had the beaver, the pelts.
Well, don't mention beaver. Jesus, poor old Harry will get upset.
Yeah, I don't think Robert's in here yet.
No. He was actually in the DAW meeting this morning.
Howdy, Mark. I said hi earlier, but so what are you going to do for your turning tomorrow, Mark? Or is it a big secret?
Or a mystery because he doesn't know himself.
By the way, you got a brand new sexy lathe.
Yes, I must admit that lathe is impressive.
Extremely. But he needs to personalize it.
No. Now what he needs to do is turn up a few staircase poles and newel posts and things using a skew chisel.
There you go. Ooh, a modern style ramen bowl. That looks interesting. So, Jay, you're only like 16 people shy of having 200, huh? That's cool.
Yeah, slowly creeping up. Yeah, they're a nice shape, those. I like those, rice dishes and those sorts of things, the Japanese dishes. One of my favourite shapes. What's the cable tie to? Oh, yeah, getting out the sawdust.
Must be awfully dry wood to have that much dust and no shavings.
No, it's the forcing bit itself, and a lot of our timbers will just take dust off a forcing bit rather than shavings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mark, that's going to be very cool. I'm going to be curious to see how you finish it and what you finish it with.
Thanks, Chris. Anyone else?
Chris got with my 3 extra accounts today.
Yeah.
Nice.
And do you troll yourself, do you, Chris?
With different names.
Yeah.
Do you like and comment on your own videos, Chris?
I think I'm about 25 short of 200.
Nice.
Well, the thing that's important to me though, and the only reason why I go live, is I hope that somebody learns something from what I'm doing, or gets inspired by something I'm doing, or
Yep.
I just want to help out.
It's always good. I like people and I like what you do and Mark and that, because it's like there's so many different personalities that we have. That's what makes us unique. And we can find people and we migrate to people who have personalities not necessarily like our own, but they have traits that we would like to subconsciously adopt. And we're meeting more people. And when you do that, the world gets smaller. And I think that's the most valuable thing that COVID has done to the world today, is that it's made itself smaller because of the technology that we have decided as adults to use, that the teenagers have been using for years and take for granted. But we never paid attention.
Well, I think too, it's accelerated technology to a large extent as well.
It has in a lot of ways, like your Stream Deck and things like that. People were writing code to do that, and and you know, but that was mostly the gamers, because there was no need for anybody except in you doing film or TV broadcasting. Uh, so there was a big difference, but I think that has caused the world to expand. And in areas of the world that you never dreamed of, we've got people popping up and doing wood turning, scroll saw stuff. The other day, I happened to be, for the fun of it, I put in scroll saw hyphen uh, Russia, and I've come up with about 40 different people who had
I am on.
that in their background
Right.
that I'd never dreamed of. And a lot of them, I popped in and looked at some of their YouTube videos, and I'd say a third of them were in either English or French, and some in Spanish, but mostly English, broken English, because that's the market they seem to want to be. But they still had Russian, so it's made the world smaller. Yeah, I tend to agree, but my background on oil field stuff only goes back to the Alaskan pipeline, and it was very dangerous. Uh, it wasn't, I had nothing to do with the uh, side of the filming and documentation stuff that would be filmed and go back to the loved ones for people who died on the job. Uh, but a lot of people did. More people died of frost and hypothermia because they wouldn't pay attention to what they wore, because you can die quickly in Alaska of hypothermia. So, yeah, the world is getting smaller, that's for sure. Yeah, Mark, I was hoping you'd stick your head in on our club meeting today. But of course, it was a rough time. You're up late. You need your sleep. Oh, I understand. Yeah, that's, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. But a lot of it, unless I forget the slang the oil people used in Alaska, that's been since 70s. But the people who are the engineers, uh, the people that were in the background, in the back office, the people that set up all the remote monitoring and sensing, uh, we're all always going to have something like that. And I don't have any problem. Those people are going to find other jobs in the more modern industries. And the thing is, there's no competition or very little competition in the new industries. So getting into it now is getting into, you know, something you know how to do and just applying it to another industry. I have friends that worked fracking for quite a while, and then they went on and I forget, they went to Saudi Arabia as engineers, and then they finally come back and they're retired, but now they're being asked to do engineering for uh, water and oil here in Michigan.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. My wife came in there when I was going to answer you there before. Yeah, it's a pretty fragile industry at the moment. Like ExxonMobil in Australia are trying to sell off everything down here. Jay, just drop your tool rest a little bit if you can. You're not quite right on centre. You're just a fraction above it. Oh, it's down as far as it'll go, right here. Well, lift the handle a little bit then.
A little trick, Jay. Uh, I had trouble, like you do, being able to keep above and below level, especially when you're standing up looking at something down. It's hard to tell what level is. I went uh, to one of our big box tool stores and I got a little torpedo level, not the big one, probably 3 to 4 inches long at the most, 2 inches long for one, and they have a magnet. And I stick them on the toolbar when I'm teaching people. Let's just sit it on top. That way, when they look down, they can see what level is. And then they get used to where their arms have to be to do it.
You're assuming that Jay can read.
To follow the bubble. Just a good cheap bubble level, not the fancy ones. But I did see on a YouTube channel where people are viewing new electronic stuff that you can get from China. And one is a level that has Bluetooth in it, so you can tell whether something's level or not. And it changes pitch for both north, south, and east, west. So you can, if you twist it, you get it. So whether it's level and plumb, and it's Bluetooth driven, and that amazed me. I haven't got it, but I decided to spend the $6 to get one. It'll take a month and a half, but when I get it, I'll try it out and show you guys. Okay. Mark wants to join us.
Come on in. The water's nice.
Yep. Got a headache, Robo?
Doesn't have his headset on.
Oh, yeah. I just had an expensive pair of Bluetooth headphones today. Just totally stop working, period.
How you going, Mark?
I'm looking up the purchase.
Howdy,
The warranty
folks.
expired 3 weeks ago.
Hey, Marky Mark. How's the Funky Bunch?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How are you guys?
We are all doing very well.
Good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good.
We
Cool.
hear you fine.
There's no point talking to Robbo. He's got his headphones off.
Yeah.
Hey,
You'll
I'm
get
gonna
him back
say
in a
this
minute.
while Robbo doesn't have his headset on. Jay, I'm making the jump. I'm ordering a round carbide tool.
Dream deck my ass.
Yeah.
You were talking about me, Mark.
Possibly.
Oh, I'm just trying to curry favour with the opposition. That's all.
Yeah, see?
Get out of here.
Traitor.
Good day, Sarge. No, actually, what happened there, Mark, is that it is near impossible down our way at the moment to find anything like the Stream Deck or the Touch Portal. I had to take what I could get. So
See that? See
yeah,
that? That's what my touch portal's on. My
on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a bit hard in my case. My phone's out in the truck. I'll go and get it.
It's wireless.
Don't you have like a little iPad in your shop? Or
Yeah, I
what-
use that as well.
Hey,
But
when you see his phone, you'll fully understand why he can't have it on his phone.
Oh, right. It's like 15th century, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just took the crank off of the last model.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. He's got it right.
Does clamshell ring a bell to you?
Oh, really? Oh, wow. When I do the live streams, I use the bigger tablet for the touch portal. But like if I'm in a hangout in the workshop, I just use it on my phone because it's just an app. You know, it does the same thing. But it's not wired, so it's wireless. I can take it wherever I want.
Is the tablet an Android or a iPad?
Android, but it works for iPads as well.
Okay.
That's my phone, Mark.
Oh, bloody hell, mate. When were you thinking of joining the 21st century?
Oh, no time soon.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
How about
Jameson.
I've been here for 12 years and I don't like it so far.
How about my Sprint phone? It gives me a keyboard too.
Yeah, no.
Oh, God. Come on, guys. Catch up.
Hey,
Hey,
guys,
Sarge.
Jameson's in the chat.
I remember when I bought that. I just found it in the bottom of a dresser drawer, and boy, what a change we've made. And this was the first phone with a real keyboard.
No, I do have another phone as well. Like I've got this one here, which is a Samsung. But the only reason I have that is to get into our government departments for taxation and things like that. You've got to have fingerprint identification. I cannot swipe the screen of this thing and make it work. For some reason, my fingers do not like swiping screens and making things work. So I went back to my old phone for making phone calls.
You could have used that phone for the touch portal and it would have cost you 12 quid.
Oh, I could have done, I suppose, yeah. But I'd spend the next
Just saying,
3...
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, but I haven't got 5 years to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And my finger, like I say, like we tried. I'm not being rude. We tried those two to get the fingerprint thing to work, and it wouldn't. I had to use that finger there to get the fingerprint ID on it, and every time it rings up, when I swipe the screen to answer the call, the bloody thing just rings out because it doesn't answer it with my fingers. That's the problem. I got too much static electricity in me, I think.
I know this is going to be a weird question, Robbo, but do you still have the feeling in those fingers?
Yes. Yeah. They quite often don't have any fingerprints on them, but yes, I've still got the feeling and everything in them.
The only reason I ask is my father has the same problem. He has like an iPad and a touch phone, and he has to touch multiple times in order for it to actually work.
Yeah, well, we've got a cooktop inside that's all push button, like under the glass thing, finger activated, and the bloody thing won't work with me. I just about punch it and it still doesn't work.
Because those are mostly capacitance operated.
Yeah, I don't know, but they don't work.
Yeah.
I have fun with my GPS sometimes because that's touch screen, of course, to get all the information in it. And
I mean, don't be thinking I'm all clever or anything, because I haven't set that touch portal up. Pete did it for me. Pete from Twisted Trees.
Yeah.
He set it all up. I haven't got a clue how it works. I'm just the monkey that presses the buttons.
Yeah, you just do what you're told.
Yeah.
What software do you use?
Touch portal software
Okay.
with OBS. The touch portal runs OBS.
Oh, okay.
So-
So it's a plug-in for OBS.
Yeah.
That could be it, Chris. I might have a bad flux capacitor as well. Yeah, good night, Sarge. Hope you're doing
Night,
all right.
Sarge.
Hope you're doing all right down there in the cold weather, putting up power lines.
Night, Sarge.
See, Mike says he's got a Nokia 3310. They're classic phones, they are.
I started with one of the earlier Nokias, and it was the most fantastic phone I've ever had.
Almost indestructible.
Yeah, and then the government decided they were going bloody digital instead of analog. Worst thing that happened to our mobile phone system down there.
Well, they did the same thing with TV going digital. And
So yeah,
I'm not sold on that either.
like
Yeah,
we had to jack our TV aerial up another 4 feet from where it originally was, because semi-trailers on a wet night going past, we lost our signal.
Yeah, and our TV stations were notified 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, that in order to create more bandwidth for sale, is that TV stations here are going to be lower power and be allowed to have repeaters and on different frequencies. So all the broadcast TVs in the US have to change.
Yeah. They get things working right, and then they decide they're going to change them.
Well, I can understand. I can understand it. It gives much more bandwidth because TV's a bandwidth hog. Now we have digital TV. You don't have an analog signal going. You have a digital signal, and that's what they're trying to do, because now you got the digital. Because here, every TV station has the capability of 10 sub-frequencies that are actually complete broadcast channels that station owns.
Yeah.
When they use it. Most stations don't use them. They use 2 or 3, and that's all, for community access. Where I'm at,
I'll just interrupt you, Bob. Just wait a second. Oh, geez, you're going through a heat wave down there, Sarge. Soon you'll be out in your shorts and T-shirt.
I would be in 60 degrees right now. Heck yeah.
Right, sorry, Dr. Bob. Yeah, we've got the same thing. They've got 10 or 12 channels allotted to each frequency, so...
Yeah, and they don't use them, so they're just recombining them back.
They use them down there, and they put bloody infomercial channels on them. Like, buy this, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, they have that, but like here are high schools and the colleges, community colleges, the city hall, and not only is city hall has one, so you can watch all the meetings and everything, and participate because they're bi-directional.
That'd be comedy hour, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, but we can't have. We've been doing it for years, but a lot of cities haven't. They think it's important that you come and sit in the gallery and participate. But now they're using Zoom, and the city has the licenses, and now they notify people when they're going to come up. They send it on the phone, so you can be there for a city hall meeting, whether it be a water board meeting, a highway meeting, because everybody has the right as a citizen of the city to sit in on these meetings and put their 2 cents in if it's budgetary. So, and just to answer questions, we've got one just about school buses.
Okay, I'd finish the inside of that out and then bring the outside down to the inside.
I might even use a skew tonight.
What? That's just crazy talk, Mark.
I know. Got a
Would you
tin of
like-
wax I need to open.
Would you like me to send you that one across, Mark? It's trained.
No, it's okay. I was just thinking I've got a tin of wax I need to open, so
Yeah.
Oh, you're good at it, Mark. In a previous life, you must have been a stand-up comic.
that's what my 2 ex-wives both said.
And Mike's asked, did you see the video of the Texas lawyer with a cat filter in a
Yes.
meeting with the judge?
I
Yes,
saw that because he didn't know how to take the filter off, did he?
the judge had to tell him how.
Oh, you better send the link for that one too, Mike, please.
I don't know if he's an administrator or not.
No,
I don't
you
think
can.
he is.
I mean, send me a
I'll fix that.
private message.
I'll fix that. Then you can put links in. Ready? Are you ready?
Go.
I'm not ready yet. Wait.
I know he's going to put a cat filter on Robo.
There you go, Mike.
I'm going to yell at you, Joe.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Mike, you can put in links now. Go yell now. Go.
See your face shield there.
Yeah.
Never lay it down on the face. Always turn it over and sit it on the headband and the bottom of the shield. Stops
on
them
this
from
bit.
scratching. No, it
It's
wasn't.
sitting
It
on
was sitting on the bloody flat bit
Look,
because
look,
it fell
look.
over. No, it fell over. Don't
Oh,
try
whatever.
to fool me.
I always have it back here, sitting on the actually because it's a heavier one. It does actually. This is heavier than the shield, you see. But because there's all stuff on my bench. Anything
Yeah,
else?
yeah.
No,
Oh, you
that's all.
just sit down in the corner and no, you're right, mate. I'll take your bloody
Mike's-
microphone privileges away. God damn it!
Mike's got a spanner.
Yeah, that could be a worry.
Is one or has one?
Has one.
Oh, who gave him that? Bloody hell!
Some
I'll
fool.
have to look it up now.
Some twat keeps giving out moderator rights. Stop it.
I think it's a filter. It is. I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. I'm prepared to go forward.
Classic.
I'm not a cat. I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to
Oh, that's hilarious.
I never thought judges had to be technical enough to tell the plaintiff or the defendant
I
how
like
to
the fact
use the system.
I like the fact that he felt he had the need to tell the judge he wasn't actually a cat. Like, no, really? Oh, I'd never thought.
If you had a filter to put on to represent you, what would it be, Mark?
The serious one would be,
The one that he's wearing now.
yeah, The serious one would be a phoenix, and the joke one would probably be a walrus.
Yeah, I can understand the phoenix.
I'm getting a phoenix emerging from the flames tattooed on my back, a full back piece.
Wow.
Coloured?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that going to be live?
No. That's gonna be a 6-hour sit-in.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll make a good live. What are you on about?
You can edit it down.
That'd go well with the pink tutu for your pole dancing, Mark.
Yeah. Go with all my other tattoos.
Get more tips.
I'm not pole dancing.
I'm kind of hoping you said tips then, Dr. Bob.
So am I.
Yeah, I must admit I had to sort of reshuffle that in my brain as well.
Hey, guys, he sold his pole for his new lathe.
Oh.
I might have to buy a pole to pay for the new lathe.
You heard it live on here, folks.
I said might.
Do you want a group of turners to do charity turns for you to raise money?
Sorry?
Get a bunch of turners to do charity programs just to raise money for you and to get rid of the pole so you can pay the lathe.
No. No.
Mark, all you'd have to do is start a GoFundMe thing. If they put 20 grand into a GoFundMe for a stupid seal of the base of the hair to her head with glue.
If I had hair, I'd try that.
Or you can get advice from someone that already has.
Yeah, Mark, I'm not too far off from that. That's why I always wear a hat. So.
Yeah, all my hats are hanging up on the thing downstairs. I wasn't expecting to, be on television tonight.
I'm still in my pajamas. on one of my first videos, I leant forward and I thought, whose head's that in the camera?
We've got someone that worried about Jay's abuse. But I'd do it too.
Hello, you sexy devil.
Hi, Dark Man.
Hey, Darky.
That was slightly creepy. I didn't mean it to be that creepy. Sorry.
You going, Donkey? Talking, Donkey?
Mike says someone else has already glued their hair. Not saying it's attention seeking, but
yeah.
Dark says, Robbo, you sexy Tasmanian devil, you.
Yeah, I know. Only trouble is I'm about 300 kilometres north of Tasmania, fortunately.
Are you migrated?
No, we kicked the island off.
Don't say hello to me then, Bob. Dark Man. That's fine. Fine. I'll just sit here and cry.
Get all offended, you snowflake.
Yeah. Excuse me while I flounce off.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why it took so long. You had to think of something funny to say about a bloody pole.
But you're not Polish at all.
No.
Dark says,
you can't call the pole. You're not Polish.
New pole.
I did my lolly yesterday, Mark.
You are what? You what?
I did my lolly yesterday. I had a rant yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can't beat a good rant.
Oh, they were all picking on me
Sounds about right.
because I don't do pens or carbides, you see.
Well, you're not a real turner until you start doing pens.
So it seems.
Uh,
I could outsource this order I've got to you.
Sorry?
I said I'm going to outsource this order I've got down to you.
Yeah.
23 slimlines in Corian, please.
Oh, yeah, right.
You'd have to use carbides because it'd wreck your tools.
Yeah, Corian's pretty hard on tools, I must admit.
Yeah. But I won't use me good tools on it. Especially the grey stuff that he gives me because it's actually got granite chips in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've got a friend that I don't know what he's doing now, but before COVID, we used to get together, and he worked for a cabinet shop. But as a wood turner, he would do some of the fancy work that they had to have. Then, for some reason, someone wanted a coaster or what do you call them? A canisters set for flour, sugar, whatever. They wanted 6 of them out of matching material that the countertops were being made out of.
Well, that's what this guy does. He's a local kitchen fitter. And when he fits a kitchen for somebody, he keeps the scraps of the countertops, gets me to make the pens, and then he gives them a pen
Of their countertops, yeah.
to match their countertops as a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Great marketing.
Yeah, we've got a kitchen bloke here that does the same thing. Only I don't turn the pens, a friend of mine turns them for him. But, yeah, and they're laser engraved on the thing with their name, you know. Very fancy. Jay, do the top of that goblet before you go and start wasting it out there. It's still running out.
Sorry, what was that?
Do the top of the goblet, the cup of the goblet, before you start doing anything down the bottom there. So it's even, you can see it flickering, like there's a ghosting or a shadow across it. I hope he taught you well anyway, Dark.
Bailey Woodwork said he's been working on a 10-inch chestnut salad bowl this weekend.
Yeah.
You have to admit he's used round carbide, some of the inside.
Yeah. Well, as I've said numerous times, Jay, can you just mute, please? Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, I can't now that you said that.
Yeah, that's just the same as using the scraper along the bottom for certain jobs. So I just get wild with people that use carbides for doing real turning, like spindles and stuff. And Dark said he fitted a kitchen for a woman once, got it just right to the measurements she gave me, and dang it all, when it was finished, she gained 20 pounds and I had to start all over. I had something similar. We had to make a big corner entertainment unit to replace. Now, my biggest problem is getting things through doors sometimes. So what we did was we made the lower half of the cabinet. It was in 2 pieces and screwed together. And then we made the upper part, which did the same thing, so that it all looked continuous. When we got there, we couldn't get it through the doors. And I said to him, I said, Jesus, mate, I said, I measured all these doors. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you that we had new doors fitted.
Nice.
They'd come in 2 inches on each side. Oh, very good, Bailey. Chris, you redeemed yourself with that last sentence there. I still did my finished cuts and shear scraping with the bowl gouge.
So, Mark, since you're on here now, how are you going to finish your bowl? What are you going to finish it with?
It's going to be two-tone black and red on the outside. So black ebonizing lacquer and red milk paint that I'm going to spray for the first time.
And you can eat ramen out of that?
No, it's going to be decorative only.
Okay.
It's a ramen bowl shape, not an actual ramen bowl.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just make sure that you explain that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm glad about that. Dark says, putting all jokes aside, whenever I use a carbine now, I think of Robbo.
Well, that's where we're in. How do you feel about that, Robbo?
What's that?
The dark matter's thinking of you.
Oh, it's a bit unnerving and scary, actually.
Better thinking than scheming.
I tell you what, I'm glad there's a couple of oceans that separate us. Depends on, Chris has asked, there are a lot of cracks though. I coat it with sanding sealer and then I will fill with CA glue. Should I use wood shavings or coffee or can I just the glue? Depends on how big the cracks are. Chris?
I'd go with coffee shavings if it's a contrast. Coffee grind, sorry, if it's a contrasting color that you want to accentuate the cracks, or the shavings from the turning to try and blend it in. But like Robbo says, depends on how big the cracks are. If they're micro cracks, just use the glue.
You could go and raid your wife's makeup stash, and it's just mica in there. But go raid it, and then you got your endless supply.
It depends on what it's going to look like if you really highlight the cracks. That's the thing with light chestnut. And Dark said he cut a Zebrano countertop the size and shape of a grand piano for a musician a few years ago. He actually felt sick cutting it because he saw the price tag. Yeah, I get like that. We get timber supplied to us from a company, and we've turned some exotics sometimes, and they give us just enough timber to do the job, and you can't stuff one up.
Chris, I did a bowl the other week. It was, what was it? Sycamore. It was sycamore. And it had a couple of cracks running around the outside. And I ran a piece of Paduke through the bandsaw, hoovered the bandsaw out first, got it completely clean, ran a strip or two of Paduke through the bandsaw, and then collected all the dust, and then sprinkled the Paduke into the cracks and superglued it in. Gave a lovely red contrast to the sycamore.
Yeah.
Really brought it out.
The way that I get sawdust, if I need sawdust, is I put a scrap piece of timber on the lathe, turn it down to round, and then get the coarsest sandpaper I can find, slow the lathe down as far as I can, and put a sheet of paper in underneath it and just collect it all on the paper.
Yeah, same principle, isn't it?
Yeah. It just take me a week to clean my bandsaw. That was the problem.
Boy, you die laughing at my bandsaw. It's tiny. It's only a little countertop job.
Yeah. They work all right.
Yeah, mine doesn't. It's on its last legs. Struggles to cut pen blanks.
And Darks has said the bandsaw gives wonderful dust for filling cracks. Yes, it does. In fact, it's interesting in our bandsaw, when we open up the door to clean it out, it's like those layered sands, of all the different colours. Looks pretty fantastic in there, actually. Maybe I should pour resin down the top and set it into resin.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Still one of my favorite things to fill cracks, though, is key shavings. All right, guys, Tammy's home, so I'm going to duck out of here. You guys have a good rest of your evening or day.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in, Blair. Take it easy.
Thanks, Blair. See you later.
See you later, Bob.
See you guys.
Yeah, that's a good use. That's a good use for pen blanks, I reckon. Or finials, one or the other. That chisel needs sharpening, Joe.
Oh, whoops. I didn't put it on mute. Oh.
I heard it. But tell me, Mark,
Yeah.
do you get a nice little blanket with your touch portal, do you? Look, I got a little blanket to cover mine up with.
Oh, dear Lord. Really?
Either that or you could wear it as a hat outside. Keep the sun off your head.
Yeah, that's better. No, you don't get a blanket with a touch portal because it's an app. In all seriousness, the Stream Deck is an awesome piece of kit.
Yeah,
if I could have afforded one, I would have had one, but it was just too much money.
Well, that's what you got to take all those things into consideration. Like there was a machine I was looking at a few years ago. I could have spent $8,000 or $9,000 on it to do the job. I opted for a $3,000 one because I figured that I probably wouldn't get much more work for it anyway. And it did the job I needed it to do, and it's still doing it. So,
yeah,
I'm on a winner. Doesn't do it as nicely as what the bigger one would have, but
well, that was the thinking behind me getting the lathe. Was this will be the last lathe I ever buy.
Yeah.
So, I don't have to spend out on anything else now.
Yeah, I'd probably use coffee grinds on that. Send it to Mark as well, and let him have a look at it. I'm talking to Chris. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Sorry, Mark. I've only just seen your picture in Messenger there on the ramen bowl, and that's that shape. I love that shape actually.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chris, that's my Facebook, mate. Send me a message if you want.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Dark. There's that many people doing pens now that they're a dime a dozen. Unless you go into, like, I've said it before, I've got a friend, Nathan, that makes pens. They're $500 minimum and then lots of 10. But he supplies corporate customers in America and around the world, and they're all laser etched. He actually made a pen that was over $5,000, but it had gold inlays in it and everything, and looked really spiffy. Yeah, I think coffee grind would give that a sort of a spider web effect on it. Or use black CA glue.
Cool, there's some humdinger cracks, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, Ned, I think I'd probably use black CA glue on it. Just glue only, no filler.
I'll tell you what I'd be tempted to use. Two-part epoxy.
Yeah, that's another option too.
Those are some big old cracks. That big one at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a bit of a dazzler, that one.
But you could still mix the coffee grinds into the two-part epoxy. Put the two-part epoxy in, and then just use a hairdryer or a heat gun gently, just to loosen the epoxy up so it goes down into the crack. And then let it sit for 24 hours. Because that's going to take a hell of a lot of CA.
Dark says he can buy a pack of big pens for $1 plus a little charge and make 10 stick pens. And he got a hunk of 999 sterling silver, would make a great inlay for a pen, but I like silver too much to do that to it.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Are we on the consensus without saying anything?
No,
Hey,
I knew he was awake.
Yeah, I have no opinion.
No comment.
And Mike says I bought a bunch of 1.5 mil silver plate to make pen ferrules and end caps dark, but practicing with copper before I commit to using it.
Chris says he's got a little epoxy, but he would have to buy the black CA. Might do the epoxy. I'm a little surprised it didn't come apart.
Yeah.
He avoided standing in front of it. Yeah, good move.
Oh,
I'd be tempted with the epoxy on that one.
yeah.
But you could still mix the coffee grinds in with the epoxy. It won't affect it.
Yep.
Well, I haven't turned pens in, I don't know, a good 10 years. Except I've inherited probably 400 pen kits and the wood to go with them from a friend of mine that passed away a couple of years ago. And they still sit on a shelf, boxed as he had them boxed and sorted. He'd actually bought the wood to go with the kit that he wanted to make, and he put them in Ziploc baggies so they once they matched up.
I still love turning pens, but I just don't, because I'm more interested in turning bigger stuff at the moment.
Yeah. And dark, if you tried, what happens with the copper is that a lot of times it gets burnt when you're grinding it down. You virtually got to file it off.
Hi,
Thanks,
Good
Chris.
night, Chris.
Thanks for coming in, Chris. Take it easy.
Yep.
And
Have a good evening.
Just to change the subject for a minute, has anybody ever watched the videos on how they get gold leaf, the way they beat it flat? Bloody fascinating video.
Yes.
Under the hammers, and they keep working down through it until it, like a little piece about the size of a cigarette lighter, suddenly becomes a sheet that's 10 feet long and 6 foot wide.
But it gives it far more strength than rolling.
Yeah.
Evidently, it's
Yeah.
a molecular change.
Mike is asking me if I've seen Silvermeister's pens. Yeah, I follow him. He's a fantastic pen maker. That's what he does is proper artistry.
Now I have to look him up.
Silvermeister, he's brilliant. The finishes that he gets off his pens are just stunning. He uses a lot of gold and silver as well.
I take it that he doesn't use CA glue.
Sometimes he does, but most of the time he doesn't. He uses lacquers and he uses melamine as well.
Oh, yeah.
Or wipe on poly. But he has used CA. I forgive him that because he does a lot of work with silver and gold, and he beats it all out himself and then inlays it, carves it.
I've used copper in probably 2-3 dozen urns that I've done over the years. Number 10 gauge electrical copper wire, and I've beat it out by hand in order to get the shape of being handmade, and also seeing the marks you leave as you beat it out, to show that it is handmade, not something that someone simply bought and stuck in there like a piece of wire.
Yeah, Dark said yes. Yeah, Robbo, I have a big diamond file I would use. And he also goes on to say, so gold leaf is real gold. I thought it was coloured foil. Yes, there's fake gold leaf, but real gold leaf is actually gold. I worked in a printing works where we used to do the gold leafing on the stickers for our postal department, the PMG. And we were in a separate room that was completely clean. We had to wear white cotton gloves using it. They would weigh the gold leaf coming out. They knew how much went on the stickers, and they would weigh all the excess to make sure that nobody was knocking any off. So
that gold leaf I used for the virtual craft fair, that was 24 karat.
Yeah,
real gold.
Yeah, you can get a fake gold leaf, which
Yeah.
but it doesn't come up the same. It doesn't have that. I call it a silent luster, if you like. It's a real gold leaf has a luster all its own.
Yeah.
And Mike has said, yeah, he made his own gold leaf years ago in calligraphy school.
Yeah, Dark, have a look on eBay or Amazon. They both sell real 24 karat gold leaf. Just don't be surprised when it turns up and it's about this big.
Yeah.
Like I did.
You just sold the kids to get it.
Yeah.
Gold's at the highest it's ever been.
I get a lot of. I used to do a fair bit of gold leafing once on some of the things that I made. I get it from a place that's about 30 kilometres away. Now, you've got to ring up. It's a great place to go to. They've got so much interesting stuff over there. They've got silver leaf, gold leaf, copper leaf, you name it. They've got it in a leaf. And you've got to ring them up. They've got a security camera outside the door. The door is always locked. And you've got to virtually put your speak into an intercom, tell them who you are and that you rang up to order stuff, and just about show an ID to get in the place. Dark, you're an evil man. Dark says you can get real gold leaf paint on Amazon. Not sure where to find the paint. And Micah said it's only a few microns thick, Dark, so it weighs next to nothing. It does. It actually floats in the air. And then Dark said, can you get it in fool's gold? I want to make a pen for Joe Biden.
Dark, check your messages. I've just PM'd you the link for the stuff I bought.
Dark says poison oak and fool's gold, only the best for Joe.
I'm going to have to shoot off, guys, because it's up past 4 here.
No worries. Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, take it easy, Mark.
See you later, buddy.
Been good
Yeah.
hanging it on each other.
Yeah.
Have a good
See you
day.
later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming in.
Now, if you're going to take any more off that stem, Jay, sand the top of it, finish the top of it right off. Try not to take too much fuzz off the tennis ball.
Yes, I my sister does a lot of gold leafing professionally, and egg. She uses the original egg mixture for it because eggs, what they originally used, they have found when they go back to some of the old manuscripts that have been gold leafed for the covers and that, and be able to determine it was egg that held the leaf on the albumen.
No, it's much easier these days, Mike, to buy it in a bottle.
Now, my sister does restoration work, mostly paintings, but she uses egg all the time. Depending on the period, but the older it is, it's egg.
And Jay Dark wants to know whether that's a tennis ball cup.
I don't know, Dark. I keep putting in the link for you to come in. I'm not telling you unless you come in.
Yeah, why don't you jump in and join them? I've got to get up early to make sure the kids are up for school. They all have alarm clocks, but that doesn't mean that they hear them. So I'm going to have to go. It's getting late.
All right, no worries, Bob. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
I'll be watching. I can
Okay.
take my phone and lay down, but I got to make sure that they're tucked away.
And Mike said, damn, that was 40 years ago when I was the youngest member of the Society of Scribes and Illuminators. In a case like that, Mike, did you actually like do the script with a size and then do the gold leaf over the top of it? Did you?
Hey, Mike, did you end up watching Housos?
You defuzzing that ball, Jay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the last bit of couple
Yeah, I
of
know.
months.
It's all right.
It's
Just
been a
every now,
mongrel, haven't you? I ain't been a bloody mongrel.
yeah, every now and again, I see a little bit of yellow dust come off. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did in the printing things too. They came off lithograph presses with the size on them, and then laid the gold leaf over the top and then burnished it off. We used to use grease-proof paper to burnish it off. I must admit, I had beautiful handwriting in school. Went to the back when I started work. Hello, you sexy devil, you.
He can't even say it.
Hi, Robo.
Hello.
It is a golf tennis ball. Do you want it? 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 Do you want it?
It's always something I wanted to do midnight and never really done. Simply because I figured if I couldn't do it with an ink pen, I wasn't doing it with anything else. But I'm imagining, you gotta have them fancy calligraphy pens to get them shapes. Like the old quill pens.
Yeah. Well, in some calligraphy, they still use that. I've got a friend of a friend. She does beautiful calligraphy work for cards and things like that. And she actually does use a similar thing to a quill, but she cuts them and shapes them herself for certain letters and things. She's also got a heap of, like, the brass nib pens as well, but she said they're just not the same. They don't give the same flow as what a quill does.
Well, yeah, I imagine. I've been on a few farms. When I was a kid, I lived next door to a dairy farmer. I played with his kids and stuff. There was fellers everywhere, and I could tell you right now that them quills are a lot more giving than a piece of tin or metal or whatever they use for the tin pens.
Yeah. Now, it's funny, we were discussing this, a few of us, the other night, Mike, about super. Like, Mike said something that we'll be interested to find out is how long super glue stands the test of time. Now, apparently in America, some of the things that are held together with super glue are actually fracturing because the glue has gone brittle, like in segmented work and that.
You all know Billy Burt, right?
Yeah. How's he going?
He's doing well. He's getting better.
Oh, good. And his wife?
As far as I know, they're both doing great. They're
good.
on the road to recovery still, but they're a lot better than what they were.
Oh, that's good.
But before all that, I had watched one of his older videos. I think it was an older video anyway, where he was talking about how he made a pen for a friend, and I think it was well, we'll just say a friend because otherwise I'll get off track. and he had put a CA finish on it. And about a year later, the guy called him up mad as hell because he paid for the pen.
Yeah.
Because the finish had all come off. The oils and the salts and whatnot in the sand had made that pen just look awful. So he said, well, bring it back and we'll fix it. And he brought it back. He removed the finish and he put a lacquer finish on it. And the guy, he said now it's been probably 15 years and the guy still got the pen. And it still looks great. But that turned me off from CA finishes right there, I mean,
yeah,
because I'm not a professional turner. I'm barely a novice.
Look, I call it, the only reason that I'm classed as a professional turner is that I make my money at it, and that's the only reason I class myself as a professional turner.
Well,
like there's a lot of hobbyists out there that, man, they do far superior work than I'll ever do.
So, I mean, it putting that aside, professional, novice, and all that aside, it don't matter. I've made a lot of things. I've sold a lot of things, but if I'm making something for sale, if it's a gift, I really don't give a crap. I mean, it's a gift. You're getting it for free. Happy go lucky you. But if I'm making it because somebody paid me to make it, I want it to last. I want it to look good. And my name's on that. I mean, regardless if it's signed or not, it's still my work. It's still something that people later are going to be like, well, Dark Matter made me this. I want it to look as good 10 years from now as it did when it left my shop, to a point. I mean, as long as they don't throw it around and beat it up. I mean, there's only so much you can control, but
that's right.
But as far as my quality of work, I want it to speak for itself a year from now, as well as it did when it left my shop, if it's took care of,
The other half of our business is building motorhomes and low voltage wiring, right? Now, I've had people working for me and they say, oh, look, the wiring's hidden under there. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's behind cupboards. I said, one day somebody is going to take out these cupboards and I want them to say, whoa, look at that. Who the hell did that? Because it's all neatly laid out and labelled and pegged back and can't get into any problems, I said, it doesn't matter if it's hidden, because one day, I said, 99% of my work on these things is all hidden. I said, but I want it to know that in 20 years' time, it's still functioning the way it should. So
I think
just to answer Mike there again, ask her if she's tried automatic pens. Yes, I have actually looked at them. They are neat pens, those things.
How you going, Joy?
And good day, Joy. How are you?
Hi, Joy.
Up in there somewhere.
Toodles. I was going on to say Klondike. Klondike, he's been working in this house, and he had a video out here not too long ago where he took us through the house he was working on.
Yeah.
And he got to a point where he showed a staircase where the gentleman that built the stairs had signed one of the
trades. That's right.
Yeah. And I thought that was great. I mean, a lot of the older woodwork, woodworkers, whatever the case, craftsmen, would sign their stuff. Well, and generally they would do it in a place where most people wouldn't see it. Like we signed the bottom of our bowls and stuff like that. It's in a place where it ain't like right in your face most of the time, but it's there to say, hey, this is the guy that, oh, it's a Robertson pen. Oh my,
Now all my staircase work, you'll notice that I'm ignoring that.
Yeah, I noticed that. You get pretty good at that.
No, all my staircase work, the bottom riser where it used to go up to hold the handrails and everything in, they have little plates, the way that I did them, those little plates that cover the gaps between the balusters, right? And I've got a punch that I punch each rail with my name and phone number on it and the date I put it in, and then cover it up.
Yeah, but 100 years from now, that phone number won't be legitimate. How are we going to call you?
I'll be dead by the time it gets pulled out.
But you know
If
somebody, if they pull it out and there's still phones at that time and we're not using like ESP or some crap.
No, well, actually, it's funny, you know. I did a heap of balusters for a historic hotel down in Gippsland just on 35 years ago. And I'd stamp the bottom rail like I normally do. Now, that was stamped with the phone number that I had 40 years ago when I was down in Sale or Seaspray, which is 300 kilometres away from here. I got a phone call. And he said, "Man, you've been hard to track down." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well," he said, "we broke 5 balusters." He said, "We're wondering if you can replace them for us, please."
They're all talking about a fly on Jay's cup.
Yeah. I can't
Must be
see a
nice
fly.
to be outside and have flies. All the flies where I'm at are froze to death.
Yeah, well, so here, what happens here is we're the mosquito breeding capital of Australia. Not only do they breed them, they call in outsiders to train them to get bigger, you know, like they're on steroids down there. We use a baseball bat to swat them.
Oh.
And what happens at 5 o'clock is that the flies stop moving around. We have an hour break and then the mosquitoes come out. You know, it's like an air control, traffic air controller, I reckon. Radio flies, time to hibernate. Right, mosquito squadrons, get ready.
Every once in a while, I think I hear a bunch of them fly over Jay's shed.
Yeah.
Sounds like a 747 coming in for a landing.
Yeah, he tells you they're planes, but actually they're squadrons of mosquitoes.
Oh, man, screw that. I can't handle. We ain't got big mosquitoes here in Michigan. They don't live long enough to get that big. But man, I don't envy you guys. I hear you can ride yours.
Yeah, well, that's about right. Yeah, we can put reins on them, that's for sure. And yes, Joy, we tell all the tourists that. Not man eating. They don't discriminate. They eat women as well.
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of mosquito I want to be. Just saying. We'll just put that out there, you know.
I'm surprised your marriage has lasted as long as it has, Doc, I tell you.
That's why it has, you know. I mean,
only the female suck blood.
Oh my! But it's because she understands that I joke a lot. You know, I come from a large family of perverts, and you know we have joked that way my whole life, and we don't mean nothing by it. You know,
that's right.
It's not intended to try to pick up chicks or anything like that, and she understands that. So we get along great, you know, and she knows as well as I do. There's no other woman I'd want.
Yeah,
you know,
my wife's the same. Or on the other hand, she says you wouldn't know what to do with them if you caught one anyway.
She'd have to be awful slow going. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Definitely not in one of those powered scooters, a walker maybe. You know, I might get her then.
I get about I don't know 10, 20 feet, and I'd be like, can we just take a break for a second? Hold on a minute.
Like, my old man always used to say, "There's only 2 advantages to being old." He said, A, you learn to delegate. He said, and B, he said, any woman looks good.
Well, you need to come to Michigan then. Not every woman looks good, let me tell you. I seen one today, man. I swear to God, she could have.
I had to crack up at that one, Doc.
she could have peeled the paint right off a car, boy. I tell you what.
I had a friend that was married to a woman, and man, look, you couldn't even describe her as handsome, if you know what I mean. She was really bad.
Is that a super mega fugly
Oh yeah,
with a
definitely.
moldy mung bean twist?
And the worst part was that she didn't try to even pretty herself up, like.
She
And
knew there was no point.
yeah, and her attitude was bad too, so that really upset everybody in a lot of ways.
Well,
But that's life.
I'm a firm believer that people carry their beauty inside, and
Oh, me
I've
too.
met a lot of people that looked like they were drugged down the road that were the most beautiful people you ever wanted to meet.
Oh,
And
me
I've met a
too.
lot of really, really, really pretty people, handsome people, pretty people, whatever you want to call it, that were as ugly as can get. I mean, my cousin is one of them. I mean, I got a cousin. She's the most beautiful thing you'd want to look at. But inside, man, she's stone cold ugly.
What I call dark soul.
Oh yeah, well, that's putting it mildly in her case, but and fake as a $3 bill too, boy. I tell you what.
Yep. Yeah, I knew a person like that where I said, oh yeah. Everybody thought they were marvelous. In fact, it was one of my wife's workmates, and I met her at a work function once of Julie's, and answer your phone. I don't think you're a prude, Joy. I better shut up, actually. Well, I'll wait until Dark comes back on before I say anything because the earmuffs might pick up through the phone. be back in a minute, Jay. Right.
No,
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because I know on my headset the speaker's still working. If you got your phone up, they can hear it.
oh, they could hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Yep, you're right.
Oh, okay. That was my wife. She's in the hospital.
Oh shit.
We took her in. I took her in this morning. She's complaining of really bad abdominal pain.
Oh
And well, she's got IBS, and so
yeah.
we figured it was just a really bad IBS attack. And come to find out, she has I don't know if I pronounce this right, divertitis.
I wouldn't know.
It's pinholes in her bowel.
Oh yeah, like Crohn's disease.
Um, no, Crohn's ain't fixable. They're fixing it with
Antibiotics.
yeah.
G'day, Tommy.
Hello, Tommy. You sexy wood-turning devil, you. But that was her. She they got her all doped up on Dilaudid. Lucky girl.
Yeah.
She's missing home, so they won't let her eat or drink nothing.
Well, I hope she gets better quick.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Midnight. Appreciate it, buddy.
No, I know what it's like having your partner not feeling well. There's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been dealing with her being sick for the last 21 years.
Right.
It went from them going through every frickin' thing they can think of to we don't know what it is to, oh, you have IBS because we don't know what else to label it as.
Yeah.
So,
well, my cousin's wife, for 20 years, the doctors kept telling you it's all in your mind. She'd get as sick as a dog, and then a couple of hours later she'd be all right, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't get out of her bed more than some mornings. And every doctor, she went to 3 doctors in the end, and they all said, no, Helen, it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
You just, there's nothing physically wrong with you. We've done this test, we've done that test, there's nothing wrong with you. Anyway, she said, stuff this. She was on holiday somewhere, and bloody little country town right out in the middle of nowhere, and she got crook, so she went in to see the local doctor, and as she walked in the door, he said, lady, you have lupus. He said, I'll run a few tests and find out. And it turned out that this country doctor out in the middle of bloody nowhere got the correct diagnosis of it because his wife had it, and he sat her down and started going through the history of it. And he said, yes, you've got lupus, and none of these so-called bloody U-Butte City doctors picked it up at all.
Well, they tested her for lupus, they tested her for Crohn's, they tested her for everything right up to cancer. And they can't figure it out. They don't know what it is. And there for a while, she was blacklisted at the ER because they thought she was just coming in for drugs.
Oh, hypochondriac, yeah.
And that ain't the case, I mean, I've watched her be sick. I've seen her puke for days on straight because she's sick as a dog, I mean? There ain't no way she could fake this, I mean? And it's just it's depressing to watch her be sick like this all the time.
Yep.
And nobody knows what's wrong with her, you know what I mean? But in this case, they actually found something that was the actual cause of something, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
she felt good about that anyway,
Yeah.
Because it's depressing to go in there. She goes in there, she's in the hospital for hours, and then she comes out with the same pain, the same outcome of what she had when she went in, you know what I mean? Not knowing what it was, not knowing what's causing it, and no relief from it. So
no, I'll just quickly run through the chat, Dark. Now, Joy said, hey, Robbo, I saw an older gentleman at the store a few years back, and his hat just made me crack up. It said there are 3 rules to old age. She can't remember the first one, but the last 2 were great. The second one was never waste a hard on. The third one was never trust a fart. I'm going to relate to the third one. And Mike said, my granddad only ever gave me one piece of advice, Joy. He said, son, never get so drunk that you can't get to thumb it up. Now, I can't quite work that one out. It must be an English thing.
Maybe hitchhiking.
Maybe. But I don't. And Joy said that my grandfather died in World War II. He was one of the guys that toted around radio equipment. No words of advice from him, and sad to say. And Mike said, I can't remember what your tribal ancestry is, Joy. Did you say Navajo? Tommy came in, and Joy said, my grandmother gave me a good piece of advice. It was, if you're going to do something that you'll have to lie about, then you should never do it in the first place. Ain't that the truth? And Dark Midnight, Mike says, I hope she recovers quickly.
Yeah.
And my vicarious life is in as well. Deluda, good stuff. He says hello from Michigan. So
How you
good day,
going, Dan?
good day, Dan. And
Hello,
Joy
Commission.
says, yeah, Joy says, no, my grandfather was not a wind talker. He was the poor chap that actually carried the radio equipment around on those giant backpacks. I know that feeling. Yeah, Mike says, and yep, that's it. Radio. Yeah, there's nothing worse when people can't find something wrong.
Yeah. Well, you know, it didn't start until after my son was born.
Oh, right.
And you know, I've talked to the doctors, so you know, they literally look like they wanted to throw me out about it. I'm telling them, you know, hey, this didn't start until my son was born. Yeah, obviously has something to do with the reproductive area, you know, but they don't seem to think so.
Yeah, kids have got a lot to blame for, haven't they, sometimes?
Yeah, kids are assholes.
And you've read that. And Mike says, Dark, until last year I suffered 2 years with terrible abdominal pains that they diagnosed as a hernia. I was going in for exploratory surgeon when a doctor correctly diagnosed it as kidney stones.
Well, that's great, Mike. I'm glad, buddy. You know, I hardly ever get sick.
Neither do I.
The sickest I've been in the last 5 years is when I had my heart attack. And I don't really classify that as being sick. I classify that as eating too much good food.
Yeah. Well, that's the same as me. I went into the doctor just because I had a pain in my side. And anyway, he says, I'll just do this. He was ready to ring an ambulance on the spot to come and pick me up. He said, your heart rhythm's all over the bloody joint. And I said, well, he said, you feeling unwell? I said, no. I said, I came in from pain in the side. He said, well, you got bigger problems than that. So took myself across the hospital. They connected me up with more meters than a bloody tune-up machine. And found out the main artery into my heart was 95% blocked. He said, you haven't felt unwell about it? I said, no. I said, how'd you get here? I said, I drove here. Oh, God almighty, you know.
You know, it's funny because when I had my heart attack, it was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I started feeling some really, really sharp pains in my chest.
Yeah.
And I just figured it was indigestion or something like that. You know, everybody was sleeping. You know, I wasn't going to wake nobody up for that. I waited until I think it was like 9 in the morning when my wife woke up. I told her, you know, are you busy? She goes, no, why? I was like, because I think I have to go to the hospital. I think I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And she goes, really? I was like, yeah, something's going on. It ain't right. And it could just be indigestion, but it don't feel right. And she's like, all right, well, let's go. And so we got dressed. I drove to the hospital, and she still tells people, she goes, he was having a heart attack and you let him drive? And she goes, well, I figured the most that could happen is we'd end up in a ditch. I wasn't about to argue with a man having a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, that's basically the same as me. Like, I'd had this pain for 3 or 4 days, and it just wouldn't go away. And I thought it was just a pulled muscle, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Us tougher old
Julie,
blokes, we tend to, you know, look pain in the face and laugh.
yeah.
You know?
Anyway, I said to Julie, I said, geez, this bloody pain's not going away. I said, I think I might have to go down to the doctor's. So next day I made a doctor's appointment. He said, oh, you can come in now. So I went in, and Julie said, when the heart specialist came in and said to her and me, said, you know, you're lucky you come in when you did. He said, if you'd let this go another week, he said, this would be a marble slab you'd be on, not a bloody bed.
Yeah, they told me the same thing. If I would have waited any longer, I would have been dead. I didn't think much of it because, you know, as kids,
Yeah.
we were told, don't worry about a heart attack unless you start feeling pains in your arm.
Mm.
You know, and if you start feeling pains in your left arm, that's time to go to the hospital. That's what we were told, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, a little pain in the chest. I thought maybe it was a bad case of heartburn or something, you know.
All right.
But I tell you what, sorry, Joe. I tell you what, it's the quickest way of getting through the ER.
It is.
Tell them you got chest veins.
Embellishing, just whack it on there and sand it
Yeah.
off. Or?
Yeah. Oh no, rub it in with a cloth. Like put it on with a cloth.
Like friction polish.
Yeah, I'd put it on with a
sanding
cloth.
paste.
I'd put it on with a cloth.
Yeah, like friction polish or sanding paste.
Yeah.
Maybe like
And
that.
Joy says she was in pain for years. Every time I turned around, the pain was worse. Finally got a doctor to listen to me instead of just shoving pills at me. Had to have a surgery because of growths. Spread it out. And then she goes on to say, I swear one more pain pill and I was going to go postal on those doctors and start shoving the pills down the doctor's throat.
I'm a cold shave at 5 in the morning. Unless my blunt razor is not the best thing to do. Gotta keep that razor sharp. You need a good strop, Tommy.
Yeah, I have the same trouble, Tommy.
My razor looked at me and ran.
Just to fill you in, Jay, Tommy said he's having a cold shave at 5 in the morning with a blunt razor. Is not the best thing to do.
Yeah. Don't sneeze, eh?
Yeah. And Mike says, don't do it, Tommy. You're not in the army.
Got enough on there, Jay?
No, I could put more.
Well, I'd start the lathe up now and polish that and see what it looks like when you get that lumpy bit out of there. And then see if another coat will go on over the top.
Rub it good, Jay. Rub it good. Oh, yeah. I like the way Jay rubs his wood. You know, it's funny because as I'm older now, you know, I think of all the time I wasted as a kid doing stupid stuff. And I wish I had all them years back, you know, knowing what I know now.
Tommy's working in a food factory this morning. Needs to be clean shaven or I have to wear a beard snood.
Good night, Joy. Sleep well.
Good night, Joy.
Got another coat, eh?
Yeah. Just see if it darkens up.
No, Dark's in here already.
Yeah, I know he's in there already.
You're a lucky bugger to have such a handsome man.
I must admit, sometimes I feel like pushing his face into it to polish things up too. Oh, I've offended him now. He's got to sulk in the corner.
My poor little snowflake feelings have been crushed.
He's got a bottom lip out that you could build a church on.
Build a church on. That's a good one. I never heard that one before.
That's what my mother used to say. Oh, got your bottom lip out so we can build a church on it, have you?
You know, I never knew my grandfather. You were talking about your granddad there a while back, and I never knew my granddad. He died 21 years before I was born. And my grandfather on my mother's side died before I was born, too. So I never got the chance to know my grandfathers.
I had grandparents on my mum's side, and he was a great bloke. He's just a bloke you'd sit down and talk to, you know. But my dad's parents had died when he was 8. So
There you go. Come out a bit darker.
yeah. Oh well, you know.
It's pretty. It's a pretty pinkish color.
There's a fly.
Do that fly. Do that fly.
Ready? I might
Now
go
he's
to the
embellished.
start. You see?
I like to catch them and then put super glue on their wings and stick them to stuff.
You get bored, eh?
I do. I do. When I was a kid,
when
me
you're
and my
bored,
friends we'd find a place where there was a bunch of flies or something. We'd go and we'd try to kill them with rubber band guns.
you know what's more fun though? When you're bored, dark.
Oh, well, I could tell you a couple things, but it probably wouldn't be proper for YouTube.
No, it's insect related.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Oh, that's all right then. Yeah, that's cool.
Hey Jay, can you whack me up on full screen for a minute?
You gotta freeze ants, dark. Freeze an ant and then take it out of the freezer and it comes back to life and runs away.
Nice.
There you go. Told you could be bored, didn't I?
There's an Englishman, an Australian, and a Biafran talking to one another, and a fly starts buzzing around. Anyway, the Englishman takes off his hat and swats it away like this. The Australian just stands there and gives the Aussie salute, you know, just like this. And then Biafran's like this.
Oh my.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. Jay just lost 13 subscribers.
All of Bailey's accounts.
No, you're not
Split
that far from.
personalities, eh?
You're not that far from 200, Jay. And I tell you what, man. They say the first 100 is the hardest. I don't put no stock in that. In all honesty, I think the first 1,000 is the hardest.
Yeah. I can't see me ever getting there before I die.
Oh, don't count on that. You know, I've heard people. You know, like I said, I've been on YouTube a long time.
It's taken me 2 years. It's taken me 2 years to get even just a little bit close to 200.
Well, you're doing it wrong, man. You've been doing it wrong.
I'm Aussie, mate.
I've helped I don't know how many channels get to 1,000 subscribers.
They can't handle us colonials, you see.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of I don't think it's even that anymore. I think it's a lot of it is that the newer generations can't handle real people.
Well, yeah, something like that.
And what I mean by that is not necessarily harsh people, but people that ain't afraid to tell you how they feel or what they're feeling or
the non-snowflakes, you mean?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I'm anti-snowflake. Yeah. I mean, I love everybody, but I can't do that. Oh, you hurt my feelings, crap.
No, not I. Good day, Stace.
Hate everyone equally, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
How you going, Stace?
Hello, Clarice.
You can take me off again now, Joe.
Oh, what?
Hello, Clarice.
No, well, the problem that actually is the problem with our generation to a large extent. We were never allowed to express our emotions, if you like, you know.
Well, we were to a point as long as it was manly.
Oh, that's right.
As long as you were batting for the right team, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go as far as to say that, because my dad was a firm believer that people were people.
Yeah.
Same
Right. It
as
didn't
mine.
matter. Didn't matter, whether they were gay or
Yep.
if they were lesbian or if they were black or white or brown or yellow or green or whatever.
I work on the premise that if they treat me right, I treat them right, and I don't care what colour they are or whatever they are, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But even back then, it didn't matter whether you were gay or lesbian or black or white. Everybody played by the same rules. You know what I mean? A man was a man, a woman was a woman. If you hurt someone's feelings, more than likely they were told, get thicker skin.
Yeah.
Learn to take a joke, or they were an asshole. I mean,
go to a hardware store and buy a bag of cement and harden up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm.
Yeah. There was another one that was put some lead in your pencil, but that was a whole different thing.
That's a different connotation.
And he's gone there again.
And yet you keep bringing me up here.
Yeah,
I know. Or you're the light relief. We've got to have some. We've also got to have somebody to blame.
Hey,
Yep.
David, we need to get David up here then. I love blaming David for stuff, and it's all been fun, If I wasn't occasionally, I forget to blame him for stuff. And then I get to feeling bad because I think, oh my God, now he's going to think I'm mad at him or something. I haven't blamed him for nothing in a while. I think a lot of good, looking at it this way, I think a lot of good ideals have been lost over time. And at the same time, I think a lot of bad ideals have been lost, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think what's happened is that to a certain extent, a lot of people have lost respect for themselves, and you can't have respect for anybody else if you can't have respect yourself.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Plus, people know their rights too much now, and with cameras and everything, they film all their so-called wrongdoings to them, and put it on YouTube and whatever, and expect a great deal of sympathy for it.
It's I can overlook almost everything that happens nowadays, but it's the candy ass entitlement crap that gets to me.
Yeah.
And I was talking to I made a comment on some Snowflakes channel. I couldn't help myself. And they had went into a Trader Joe's, okay.
They what?
And
Sorry.
They went into a Trader Joe's. It's a store here.
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
And they went in without masks on, and Trader Joe's was refusing to serve them. They wanted them out of the store because of COVID, and they were crying about that, our rights and whatnot, and the only thing I had said is like, well, you you better get ready because they're trying to pass a bill right now in the States here to make it where gun owners have to have all of their guns, not just like pistols registered. They have to take a psych test and everything else, or if they, and if they refuse to register their weapons, it's I think it was like a $5,000 fine and whatnot. And I said, so I mean, you're in there ranting about a mask. You ought to be ranting about something that's serious. And he come back at me. He was like, oh, that's all you guys think about is all you right wingers think about is your guns and how you can use them to protect yourself and this, that, and the other thing. And I told him, I was like, well, it's a hell of a lot better than going in and attacking a Trader Joe's over some silly masks when you could have just put one on, went in, got what you needed, and left. What did you accomplish by that?
Yeah, it's the same as like when the copper says, "Oh, have you got any ID?" I don't have to show it to you.
Yeah.
Robbo, you don't even have to answer him. As soon as you answer him, you're entering into a contract with them.
Sorry?
You don't even have to answer the police officer if you know you've done nothing wrong. As soon as you answer one question, you're entering into a contract with them.
But if you've done nothing wrong, then I have no qualms with it. If I get pulled over, all right, I'll give you a classic example. I got pulled over cruising up the highway. All right, I was 3 kilometres an hour over the speed limit. I know that. Anyway, they followed me for about 10 kilometres. And I just sat on the constant speed. There were 4 or 5 of us all in the constant speed. And I'd changed lanes 4 or 5 times, using indicators every time. Anyway, I got pulled over. And I got out of the car as soon as I pulled up and had my licence in my hand. And he walked up, he said, I said, "What's the trouble, officer?" He said, "Nothing, mate." He said, "I'd just like to compliment you on your driving." He said, "You indicated everything. Everybody around you knew exactly what you were doing." Now, if you've done nothing wrong, that's right. If he'd pulled me over and said, "Look, you've exceeded the speed limit," I would have said, "Oh, well, yeah, so was everybody else." That's still no excuse for me to exceed the speed limit. I'd say, "Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir." If I'm in the wrong, I always admit it straight away. And if they told me to bloody lie down on the floor, I'd do it because, man, they got more powers than I'll ever have.
Well, I don't think a lot of these snowflakes actually realize that in most states here in America anyway, it's the law that you have to have ID and be able to provide it to the law.
That's it.
For it.
It's the same. It's the same in Australia. If you are requested by a police officer, you are obligated to obey.
Right, and it's been that way for as long as I can remember.
Me too. And you start looking at all these things, and it's because people just haven't obeyed a simple instruction.
Besides, I tell you what, as when I was younger, I ran with a pretty rough group. All right, and we were always in trouble for something or another. But we learned at an early age the best way to deal with cops is just be polite, answer their questions, and normally you'll get away with whatever you were doing anyway because they're going to be like, "Oh, well, them are nice kids. We'll leave them alone."
Exactly.
Not, "Hey, I don't have to answer your questions." That's usually when they want to stick you in the back of their cop car and hold you and take you, look for a reason to take you to jail.
Yeah. Or you fall over the curb on the way to the police car,
Yeah. Someone made a comment the other day.
Sorry, Doc, just for a second. Jay, with that coat, let it dry, polish it out, then let it dry for a while, and then just try buffing it up, all right?
All right.
See what it looks like.
Midnight says somebody made a comment the other day that people that object to masks are only worried about their freedom. I don't react because I don't melt snowflakes on maker channels.
Yeah. I don't react because I don't melt snowflakes on maker channels.
You know, I'm not sure what he meant by that, but
He doesn't
I'm
do
not-
any rants on Snowflake's channels. I think that's what he means.
oh, okay, all right. No. I'm not trying to rant about the snowflakes or anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about it, to be honest. But yeah, I'm lost in this new world. To be honest, I
don't think you're the only one.
Well, see, where I was brought up, we had a local copper called Katnar. Now, Katnar was an ex-British Army, held the heavyweight title, boxing title in his unit, and he was about 6'6" and built like a brick dunny. And he had a voice that, man, it rattled the windows when you talked, you know. Anyway, if he caught you doing something wrong, he'd say, listen here, young Robbie, don't do that again. He'd give you a clip under the ear or a foot in the bum and say, go home.
right.
If you'd done something really wrong, he'd say, go home and tell your father I want to see him. Now, you knew that you were going to get a hiding from your old man when you got home. You'd get another one when he came back from the police station after Mr. Katnar, because Katnar would tell him. But that was the way it was, you know, like the coppers meted out justice. You didn't wait 3 months to go to a court and have some magistrate fine you or anything else like that.
Yeah, I get you now, Midnight. Midnight says what I meant, Dark, is that they don't value their freedom or understand the price that was paid for it. I fully agree on that. Totally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to get into that, boy, because I get mad. You know, we're talking about children that have been entitled and not taught anything. You know, when you get them two things put together, you end up with a real mess for sure. I see these videos where people go and they ask people, you know, easy questions that everybody should know, and they have no clue. And these kids are in college, and it amazes me how stupid our country has become. And it makes me worry about the future of it as well, you know, and the way things have gotten, and I'm not going to get into politics or anything, so
Kick you out.
as the way things have gotten here in the States, the future ain't looking bright. Come on, you stupid cat. Dang cat, she'll scratch at the door to get in. Then when I open the door, she'll stand there and look at me like I'm dumb.
Of course. And then as soon as I get in, they start scratching it to go back out again.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is that the one that bit you?
Yeah.
I'd leave the bastard out there.
She's a mean. Well, I have words for her, but I'll be nice.
Yeah, that's dead right, Mike. It's not just the children, and they tend to be the ones calling everyone else idiots.
Right.
Has it come up fairly glossy on the cup part there? Like, I can see you've got a good shine down the base of it, but it must be just the light, the way the light's directed off it.
Yeah, I'll move the camera.
You know, I don't mind being told I'm wrong. You know, if I'm wrong about something, you know, obviously I'm wrong about it. You know, I could eat that because, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's how we were taught. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's looking good, Joe.
It is looking good. That embellishing wax you're using is really pretty.
Yeah, it's a homemade stuff.
Homemade stuff is the best stuff because you can redo it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, now that I know it works, all right.
Well, I'd let it sit for a day.
Yep.
And then see how it handles fingerprints and things on it.
All right.
You know, I may be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a professional at anything, but if I'm not mistaken, I heard somewhere that Canuba wax will stop fingerprints, stuff like that.
Canuba wax will to a certain extent, but monocrystalline wax is far better. It's a harder wax altogether.
Okay.
But I've got a friend that can leave fingerprints on steel. Like whenever he when he worked for me for a while, he had to wear cotton gloves because he left sweat marks on the timber when he was taking it in and out of the lathe.
Oh, that's fine.
And he could put his hand down on the lathe bed and lift it off, and there would be 5 rust marks on the lathe. He was hopeless. Just sweated like nothing on earth. Oh, sorry, perspired.
I tell you what, I got my lathe out in my shed. My lathe and my new extension bed out in the shed, and the shed's covered in about 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm totally worried that I'm gonna have to go out there and spend a day cleaning rust off from it.
Yeah, you might be lucky actually, because it's more moisture in the air that causes the rust, and snow's fairly dry,
Frozen,
isn't it?
yeah, it's dry climate because all the moisture's been frozen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I'm all worried about this new shop because, like I said, I haven't done nothing out there. We moved in; it was snowing when we moved in. It's been snowing since, it seems like. So it ain't like I've been able to get out there and rearrange anything, and to a point where I can use anything. Not that I could, anyways. It's freaking freezing out there. I'd be out there like 10 minutes and have to come back in again, so it would be worthless to try. But
Tommy,
next summer. Go ahead.
No, I answered Tommy. I know he's having a shot at me. We had a discussion the other day about food safe finishes. That's all.
Oh yeah. Most most finishes are food safe as long as you let them cure, I hear.
That's it.
Yeah.
Provided they're made for wood. It's no
Right.
good using. It's no good using like stuff made for metal on wood and thinking that's going to be food safe in 28 hours or whatever.
Or
Because
arsenic.
they never. Well, normally they have like zinc and chromium and stuff in them too. So that's no good.
Yeah, I was talking lacquer and varnish and stuff like that.
No, that's all. That's all food safe when it's cured.
No, I've been curious about now I watched a couple videos. I can't remember who it was or anything, but and I've tried it. It had
I know that, Tommy.
But where you take acetone and broken pieces of plexiglass, and you melt the plexiglass and the acetone to kind of like make a liquid plexiglass, and you paint it on like the inside of a vase or something to waterproof it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the acetone, it evaporates, and then the plexiglass hardens again, like a resin, kind of, I guess.
Well, I've never heard of that for a finish inside a vase or anything like that. But what they used to do was get thinners and polystyrene foam and melt that down for end sealing on logs.
Okay.
Instead of using Mobile Cerem or paint or something like that, you know.
Well, I know that if you take acetone in a cigarette butt, you can make a good joke.
I used to terrify our apprentices because we used to wash a lot of parts in petrol, right? Now, I've always been a smoker, and I'd just walk past and go in their thing of petrol. Because petrol won't explode with a cigarette anyway. Light a match on the vapors, and yeah, man, you're asking for singed eyelashes. No worries.
I don't know if I'd try that with a cigar.
Oh no, even a cigar, as long as you're not dragging on it, they don't get hot enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew the cigarette thing was a Hollywood thing, you know, where they throw the cigarette. That's a Hollywood thing.
Oh, yeah. You know, when I was in the fire brigade, we tried for 9 hours flicking cigarettes into grass and things to start a fire. And we couldn't do it.
You didn't do a very good job.
The next day,
I've started a fire and flicked a cigarette into grass.
The next day, we went out and there was a light breeze blowing across we were doing it on a car park with grass around the outside and a fire truck sitting there as well. The next day there was a slight breeze, and yes, it was just that slight breeze that heated the cigarette butt up enough, and away she went.
Well, you know, it's just like you watch the bushcrafters. I watch a lot of bushcrafters here on YouTube, and a lot of them are my friends. You know, they do the flint and steel fires.
Yeah, flint and steel. Yeah,
and that don't amaze me at all. You know that you can light a cigarette and throw it in there real easy and start a fire with a little bit of a breeze. I totally with that. I'm just talking. You know, when I said that's a Hollywood thing, I meant where they throw the cigarette and it hits
the petrol,
gas and it blows up and
yeah.
It's
the same. It's the same when they fire a round out of a gun into a bloody petrol tank and it explodes.
Right. Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
Well, cars don't explode like that, anyways. From my knowledge,
no, they don't.
That most gas tanks now have like safety plugs in them. They'll blow the plug out or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes ages to blow a car up. Don't ask me how I know.
This was back in the early 2000s.
All right, I'm going to turn the live off now. I'm ending it. Did you hear that?
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
She said, "Dinner's ready." Tell her we'll be right there.
All right.
She's got hot cross buns.
Doc said he'll be here in a minute. Did you hear that?
Okay.
Yeah. Chucking